Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel from Evelyn and Peter, and today I have the Fernbrook Cardigan crochet pattern to share with you guys. So you can find the free pattern on my blog, enpcrochet.com, in sizes extra small through 5X. I recommend pulling that up, following along with the written pattern as you watch the video tutorial. It is available as a line brand kit. The kit comes with all the yarn you need to make your cardigan, plus it comes with a free copy of the printable PDF pattern download, and then you can customize your yarn color as well. And then of course it's in my Etsy shop and in my Ravelry shop. If you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, I recommend you do that. You can head to my blog and just put in your email, and then anytime I have a brand new pattern coming out or video tutorial or anything fun happening with Evelyn and Peter, including any good sales on my kits and my patterns, I let you guys know there first. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. A little bit about the Fernbrook cardigan. It is worked in one large piece. So we're going to be starting from the back of the bottom of the back panel. You'll work your way up, you'll work your way around. We'll split and we'll do one of the front panels first, coming down and fastening off, and then we'll join back in and work the second front panel, come down and fasten off. And then you'll be working some ribbed rows on the outer side of both sides of the cardigan. So you'll do that first and you'll work a few ribbed rows, and then you'll do the same thing on the inner neckline as well. You'll work around the same amount of ribbed rows, and then you'll just fold it together. And on the side here, it's really customizable, so you can decide how deep you want your sleeves and how long you want your side slit. If you wanted to, you could even sew all the way down. You can make your sleeves longer or shorter, and when I say sew, really I just mean slip stitch. So technically there's no sewing in this pattern at all. You just do a few inches of slip stitching to join the side of the cardigan on both sides. If you want to, you can sew, but I wanted to make this basically a no sew pattern, so you can just take your hook, do a few slip stitches on the side there to join in the ribbed rows, and then that is it. It is a really fun and simple pattern. I wanted something just lacy and summery to throw on to wear through the warmer weather days. But I hope you guys like this design. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. So for this design, you are going to need lightweight yarn. I'm using Line Brand's 24/7 Cotton DK. I have all of the exact yardage that you need for each size on my blog, so you can check that out and see exactly how many skeins you'll need depending on what size you're making. And then I'm also going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. You'll need a needle and a pair of scissors to weave in your ends, a couple of stitch markers, and then a measuring tape as well. So this design is worked all in one large piece. We're going to be beginning in the bottom of the back side. You can go ahead and start with the slip knot and then chain 2, and we're going to be working foundation single crochet stitches. If you prefer just working a normal chain and then single crochet back down, you can totally do that instead. But for the foundation single crochet row, you're going to chain 2, and then in the back bump of that first chain that you made, insert your hook, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through the first loop only, and yarn over, pull through 2. That is one foundation single crochet. In the bottom of that stitch you just made, insert your hook under both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our second stitch. Again, insert your hook into the bottom of the previous, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm just making a long row of foundation single crochet stitches here. And if you're doing the starting chain instead of a foundation row, you can chain one more than the number listed in the written pattern, work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and back across for the same stitch count. So go ahead and work up the correct amount of stitches that you need for your size, and I will meet you at the end of the row. Okay, you should be done with your first row. Mine is going to be shorter here for the first few rows. I'm showing you just on a smaller sample, and then I'll jump back into my normal cardigan to finish off the video tutorial. So mine is going to be shorter, yours will be much longer. After you have row 1 complete, you can chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to begin row 2. We're going to work a single crochet into the very first stitch under both the front and back loop, and just work a normal single crochet. And then we're going to chain 5 and skip the next 3 stitches. So just yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook 5 times. Count out the next 3 stitches, skip over them, and then in the following we're going to work a picot stitch. So for that you just work a single crochet into it, and then chain 4. So yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook 4 times. And then we're going to slip stitch back into the single crochet we just made, kind of into the center of the stitch. So I know there's different ways to do picot stitches. If you like to do yours by slip stitching into the first chain, or you like to use a different amount of chains, that's totally fine here. You can adjust the picot stitch if you want. I just thought this way looked best for this design. After you do your picot, go ahead and chain 5, skip over the next 3 stitches, and then work a picot again in the following. So you'll single crochet into it, and then you'll chain 4, and then you'll slip stitch back into the single crochet that you just made. And then we're just going to continue repeating this all the way across the row. So again, chain 5, skip 3, picot, repeat across until you have 4 stitches remaining, and then I will meet you at the end of the row to show you how to complete it. Okay, we're coming up to the end of the row here. I have 4 stitches left. I'm going to chain 5, skip 3 stitches, and then in the final stitch I'm just going to work a single crochet. And that completes row 2. So to begin row 3, you can chain 5 and turn your work, and this chain 5 does count as a stitch. So when you chain these, make sure you're not doing it too tight. You want to have a loose tension on the starting chain, because you will be working a stitch back into the top of it on the following row. So just make sure you're not doing it tight. So after your chain 5, we're going to be working a treble crochet into the very first chain space, and throughout this row we're going to be working our stitches in all the chain spaces. So yarn over twice on your hook, insert your hook in the chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we just did 1 treble stitch. We're going to do a second one in the same spot. So you'd yarn over twice on your hook, insert your hook into the chain space, and yarn over, pull up a loop. Then you'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we just did a second treble crochet. So now this part we're going to be working our stitch around the posts of the treble crochet stitches that we just made. So yarn over and then insert your hook around the posts of the 2 treble stitches. So we're just going right behind the first one, and then yarn over, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 only. And then we're going to repeat it one more time. So yarn over, insert your hook around the posts of the 2 trebles you made, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through the first 2 only. We have 3 loops on, and we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So it kind of makes like a sideways stitch here, and we're just working around the posts, not into the top of any stitch. After that, you just chain 1, and we're going to continue to repeat that across in each chain space all the way across the row. So I'll show you one more time. You're going to yarn over twice and work a treble into the next chain space. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Repeat that one more time, working a second treble in that same chain space. Now we're going to work around the posts that we just made. So yarn over, insert your hook around the 2 posts, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook again around the posts, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through all 3, and then don't forget to chain 1. So go ahead and repeat that all the way across the row, and I will meet you at the last chain space. Okay, I'm at the end of row 3 here. I've worked all of my stitches into every chain space across. I just finished my last one. Now after you work your last one and the last chain space, do not chain 1 here. So I know you're probably used to chaining 1 after each of them, but in the very last one, you do not do a chain 1. So you just finish with the 2 trebles and working around them, and then you finally work 1 last treble stitch into the last stitch of the row, which is the top of the single crochet. So that completes row 3. And now we're going to begin row 4, so you can chain 1 and turn your work. And this one is just like row 2, except now we're working into chain spaces instead of the foundation single crochet row, but it's exactly the same other than that, but I'll still go ahead and show you really quick. So you're going to work a single crochet into the first stitch, and then you're going to chain 5, skip over the next 3 stitches, and in the chain space you're going to work your picot. So again, that's a single crochet, and then chain 4, and then slip stitch back into the single crochet that you made. And then you're just going to keep repeating that all the way across. So you'll chain 5, skip over the next 3, work a picot into the next chain space, which is just a single crochet, chain 4, and slip stitch back in. Go ahead and continue to repeat that across the row, and I will meet you at the end of it. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of the row here. I just did my last picot stitch. I have 4 stitches remaining because remember the chain 5 counts as a treble crochet. So I'm going to chain 5, skip over 3 stitches, and then work a single crochet into the top of the last stitch, which is the top of the starting chain 5 from the previous row. And you just work a single crochet into it to complete the row. Okay, so now you just need to continue repeating rows 3 and 4 over and over again until you have the correct amount of rows for your size. So if you need to, you can go back and rewatch, but we're just going to keep repeating rows 3 and 4 until we have the right amount of rows. So go ahead and work up all of your rows, and then I will meet you back here to show you how to split the neckline and continue on into the front panels. Okay, so now I have the back side complete. We're going to split the neckline now. If you wanted to adjust length, here's where you'd want to do it. You can add or remove rows in multiples of 2 before you continue on. So I have my stitch markers placed. You'll want to count in the correct amount of stitches from right to left and place your first stitch marker, and then do the same thing on the other side. Count in the correct amount of stitches for your size from left to right and place your stitch marker. Now we're only going to be working our first row here to that first stitch marker that we place. It's just our normal row repeat where we work a single crochet, chain 5, skip 3, work a picot, and repeat across the row. But this time we're stopping when we get to the stitch marker. So I'm coming up to the stitch marker here. I've worked my last picot. I'm going to chain 5 and then work a single crochet into the last stitch, which is the chain space that we placed our stitch marker in. That marks the end of the row. This space in between is our neckline, and then the second stitch marker marks the end of the row, or the beginning of the row on the opposite front panel. So now that you have that first shaping row done, you can chain 5 and turn your work. And now we're just going to be continuing to repeat rows 3 and 4 throughout the remainder of this front panel. So that was the only shaping that we need to do. We're just stopping partway across the row where we placed our stitch marker, and then continuing on now with our normal row repeats. So this row is just a row 3 repeat where we work the 2 treble and then work our stitch around the 2 treble. and repeat all the way across. So you have it memorized by now. So I'm not going to show you all the way across the row, but you're just going to keep going, repeating rows 3 and 4 for the correct amount of rows for your size. So go ahead and work up the rows 3 and 4, repeating over and over until you have the right amount of rows. If you made any adjustments on the back side with your length, you'll need to do the same on the front side, so you can add or remove the same amount of rows before you do this final single crochet row here. So after our last row, you should have ended on a row 3 repeat, and now we're just going to chain 1 and turn and work single crochet stitches in each stitch and chain space across the row. So we're just working our single crochet stitches to the end here. We're going to finish with our last single crochet into the top of the chain 5 to complete our final row of the first front panel. Okay, so once we're done with this side, we need to fasten off and then repeat the same thing on the other side as well. So we have our left panel complete and it's on our right hand side. And we're going to attach our yarn now and join into where the second stitch marker is to work up our right front panel. So this is going to be the right front panel when you're wearing it. The one we just completed is the left front panel when you're wearing it. So join in with a slip stitch, and then you're just going to chain 1 and work a single crochet into the same space. Now we're just going to jump right back into our normal row repeats. So your chain 5, skip 3, work your picot, repeat that across the row. We're just doing a normal row 4 repeat here. It's going to be the same stitch count as the first front panel. And you're just going to repeat the normal stitch repeat until you get to the end of the row. And then you can go ahead and turn your work and then work a row 3 repeat. So we're doing the exact same thing, continuing to repeat rows 3 and 4 until we have the same amount of rows as our first side. Make sure you don't forget to add that final single crochet row as well onto this second front panel. And once you're done with that, don't fasten off and don't turn. After we work that row of single crochet, we're just going to continue up the side of our cardigan, working some single crochet stitches. So chain 1, and then in the end of that row that you just finished, work a single crochet, and then continue working single crochet stitches all the way up the side. So this is the outer side of the cardigan, so it's running up along the outer arm/shoulder side of the front panel, plus all the way across the back panel as well. We're working some ribbing rows here, and the stitch count, the exact stitch count doesn't matter too much. You just want to make sure that you don't have too many stitches or your work can start getting really wavy, and you want to make sure you don't have too little stitches because then your row will be too tight. So I worked about 5 single crochet for every TR row that I have, every treble crochet row that I did with the chain 5s. I worked about 5 single crochet, and then for every chain row with the single crochets on the end, I worked 1 single crochet into it. So it's about every 6 stitches for every 2 rows, but if you need more or less, you can make adjustments there. The first row will look a little bit wavy just because of the chain spaces, but that will start to smooth out as we continue on, so don't worry too much about that. After you work all the way to the end of the corner, you're going to stop and then chain 1 and turn your work. So we're not rotating or continuing around, we're just working from one corner to the second corner. And then you're going to work a single crochet in the first stitch, and then a single crochet in the back loop only for each of the stitches across the row. So the back loop only is the loop that's furthest away from you when you're looking at the top of the stitch. It's the back loop of it. You're just going to work 1 single crochet, back loop only, all the way till the end where you'll finish with a single crochet. And then go ahead and repeat that 2 more times. So we're going to have a total of 4 rows on the outside edge of our cardigan here. Once you have the 4 rows complete, you can fasten off. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So again, right now, this is just the outside. This is not the inside neckline area. This is the outside of the cardigan. So now we need to join in and do the same thing on the other side. So now this is the left side ribbing. We have our work facing wrong side up, and I'm joining in my yarn with a slip stitch to the unworked bottom corner of the back side of the cardigan. So we have our first right side done. Now I'm attaching in and I'm doing the left side. Again, my work is wrong side up. I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to that other corner of the back panel that hasn't been worked into yet, and then just do the exact same thing. Work one row of single crochet stitches all the way up along the outer side of the back panel and continuing across the outer side of the front panel, just working one long row of single crochet, and I'll stop at the front panel's first corner. And again, I'm just going to work about 6 stitches for every 2 rows here. The exact stitch count doesn't matter, but you will want to try and match it up as evenly as you can with the first side, so you have about the same amount of stitches. But it's really not that big of a deal if you are off a little bit or you make adjustments. Once you work your 4 rows there, you can fasten off as well. And then we are going to do the same thing to the inside of the cardigan, now the inner neckline area. So I have my cardigan folded here. The right sides are facing. I'm going to be joining in with the wrong side up of the first front panel here, just into the bottom corner. And then I'm going to single crochet up the first front panel, across the back neckline, and down the second front panel, stopping at the corner. It's going to be exactly the same as it is on the outer sides of the cardigan that we just completed. So I'm just going to join in with a slip stitch into the bottom corner, chain 1, work a single crochet, and then again I'm going to evenly single crochet up the side, across the back, and down the second side, working about 6 stitches for every 2 rows. And then when you're on the back neckline, you just work 1 single crochet into each stitch across the back, stop at the corner on the other side, chain 1, turn, and then you'll work your single crochet in the first and your single crochet in the back loop only, all the way till you get back to this side where you'll finish with a single crochet, and then you'll repeat that 2 more times. So again, we're going to have a total of 4 rows here, just like we do on the outsides of the cardigan. Okay, so we just finished our 4 ribbing rows on the inner neckline, and now do not fasten off after your last row is made. We're just going to continue on and work a row of single crochet along the bottom of this front panel. So don't turn your work, just continue along the bottom, working single crochet stitches evenly across those 4 ribbing rows, and then as well as across the bottom of the front panel stitches, working 1 single crochet in each stitch. And then you can work all the way across through that second corner on the other end and fasten off, and then you'll do the same thing on the other front panel as well. You can join into the corner and just single crochet across the row just to give it a nice clean finish, and then you'll do the same thing on the back panel as well, just single crochet across, giving it a nice clean row to finish it off. And then once you're done with that, we're going to be joining the sides of the cardigan. So I just have my cardigan here in front of me, right sides facing, and I'm going to put a couple of stitch markers to mark out where I want to sew the sides. So you can either use your hook and slip stitch, or you can use a needle and sew across. I used my hook for this one just because it was only a few inches that I'm joining, and I just did some slip stitches. So you can choose however you want to do it. I'm going to measure out from the top shoulder down just about 9-ish inches for my size, 8 or 9 inches. You can check the pattern. I'll have some recommended inches that you should measure out for your size, but honestly doesn't matter too much here. You can make adjustments how you like it, how big you want your armhole to be, and how big you want your side slit to be. So this is very customizable if you want to make adjustments here. I'm only going to sew about 4 inches total on both sides of my cardigan, and I'm just marking that off with stitch markers here. So you're just going to do the same thing on both sides. Don't be freaking out and like trying to get it the exact stitch. It doesn't matter too much here. You just want to make sure that the measurements are the same with the placement of the seam. That's the most important part. and then you can take your hook or your needle, and I'm just going to be slip stitching in the back loop only, from stitch marker to stitch marker. But again, if you have a different way that you want to seam, that's totally fine. You can sew, or you can use your hook a different way and just join together. I chose to do a slip stitch in the back loop only here, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. After that, all we have left to do is just weave in our ends, and that completes this design. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy summer cardigan, and I'll see you guys in the next video tutorial.